Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do paper 1 HR for May, June 2025 IGCSE Edexcel Maths A. If for someone who's looking for the other papers for IGCSE Edexcel Maths, the higher one or the foundation one for 2024 and 2025, you can check out the link above. And if you're someone who wants to do topic-wise revision for higher maths, then you can check out the other link above, because in this link you will find several videos and each video is based on a different topic, and we're discussing exam questions from 2018 to 2025. With the help of those videos, you'll be easily able to clear your confusions about any of the topics and score better marks. So let's start with this question. It says, find the lowest common multiple of 45 and 70. So for the lowest common multiple, there are two ways of solving this. Either we can use the division method. So we have 45 and 70. What we do is we start dividing 45 and 70 by numbers. It can be by a common number if possible. If not, then by separate numbers. So we know 45 and 70 come in the 5 times table. So this becomes 9 and this becomes 14. Then 9 and 14 don't come in the same times table. So 9 can be divided by 3. And then 3 can only be divided by 3. So now 45 has become a 1. Now for 14, 14 comes in the 7 times table. And then 2 only comes in the 2 times table. So now once you have converted 45 and 70 as ones, the numbers you divided them by, for the LCM, you will times all of these. So it's going to be 3 square times 5 times 7 and then times 2. That's going to give us 630. Now, the other way you can solve this is you can list down the factors of 45 in prime factor form. 45 is 9 times 5. 9 can become 3 square and 5 comes as it is. Now 9 and 3 are prime numbers. For 70, we know that 7 times 10 and 10 can be rewritten as 5 and 2. So once you write their factors in prime factor form with product of prime factors in index form, in LCM, what we do is we take all of the numbers. So the numbers are 2, 3, 5, and 7. Then for each number, we pick the highest power given in like either 45 or 70. So there's just 1, 3, and that has a power of 2. So we take 2 as the power of 3. For 2, there's just 1, 2, so it's going to be just 1, 2. Now for 5, the highest power is 1 because in 45, there's 1, 5, and in 70, there's 1, 5. So we take 5 as it is. We don't write it as 5 square because we cannot combine the numbers from different numbers. We cannot write 5 as 5 square because one 5 is in 45 and the other is in 70. Once again, you cannot combine them. You keep them separate. So the highest power of 5 is 5. And for 7, the highest power is also 7. When you multiply them, that also gives us 680. So you can use either of these methods, whichever you think is easier. But if you're using the product of prime factor form, remember, you cannot combine the numbers. You cannot combine a 5 from 45 and a 5 from 70. That's wrong. For the highest power, you will see in their product of prime factor form, for each number, where is the highest power given? As you can see, for 5, the highest power was 1 in both the numbers. So we took 5 as it is. For 3, the highest power was 2. So we took 3 square. For 2, the highest power was 1, and so for 7. So you have to be very careful about this. Do not confuse LCM with HCF. Then it says the length of a ship is 142.8 meters correct to 1 decimal place. Write down the lower bound of the length of the ship. So whatever it's correct to, you divide that by 2. So if it's correct to 1 decimal place is 0.1. So 0.1 divided by 2 is 0.05. So for lower bound, we will subtract 0.05 from 142.8. That's going to give us 142.75 as the lower bound. For the upper bound, we would now add 0.05 to 142.8. So 142.8 plus 0.05, that's going to be 142.85. That is your upper bound. Remember, whatever it's correct to, you divide that thing by 2. If it's correct to a specific decimal place, then whatever is the place value of the decimal place, you divide that by 2. One decimal place is 0.1. Two decimal places is 0.01. Three decimal places is 0.001. So you have to be very cautious about these things. Then we're multiplying two mixed numbers. So in this case, first we will convert the mixed number into an improper fraction. So to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction, we multiply the denominator with the whole number and add the result to the numerator. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9. So 9 over 4. As you can see, the denominator stays the same. What's changing is the numerator. Then 7 ones are 7 plus 5, 12. Now, when you're multiplying fractions, if you want to simplify, you can do that. Simplification can be done vertically and diagonally, not horizontally. Horizontally, you can only multiply the numerator with the numerator and denominator with the denominator. As you can see, 4 and 12 come in the same times table. 4 ones are 4, 4 threes are 12. So we have 9 times 3 over 7, which is 27 over 7. To convert this into a mixed number, we divide 27 by 7. 7 threes are 21. Remainder is 6. So 3 whole numbers, 6 over 7 is the answer. Your quotient to solve is the whole number. The remainder is the numerator and denominator remains the same. Then we have probability, where it says here's a biased 5-sided spinner. When the spinner is spun, it can land on blue or on green or on purple or on red or on yellow. The table gives information about the property of the spinner landing on each color. Sophie spins the spinner once. Work out the probability that the spinner lands on blue or on green or on purple. So blue is 0.12 plus 0.20 and then plus 0.38. The reason why I'm adding all the probabilities is because the question says that we want to find the probability that the spinner lands on blue or on green or on purple. In maths, when it comes to probability, or means add. And if you see and in probability questions, like for example, blue and green, that would mean that you have to multiply both the probabilities. So you need to know how to make this distinction. If it says something or something, you add the probabilities. Something and something, that's multiply the probabilities. So when we add these up, what we get is 0.7. Then Max spins the spinner 350 times. Work out an estimate for the number of times the spinner lands on red. So for the spinner to land on red, we know that the probability is given as 4x. And yellow is x. And for this, you need to know that the probability of the spinner existing with all of these colors is 1. So that means when you add all of these probabilities, it will always equal to 1. So 1 equals to 0.12 plus 0.20 plus 0.38 plus 4x plus x. This is the equation that we will use to figure out the value of x first. And once we've done that, then we can figure out the probability of red. And using that, we can estimate the number of times the spinner lands on red. So let's start this step by step. So first, we subtract 0.7 from 1. This is x, sorry. That's going to be 5x. 0.3 equals to 5x. 0.3 divided by 5 equals to x. And that's going to give us 0.06x. Probability of red, that's 4 times 0.06, which equals 0.24. So number of times, that's going to be 350. The number of times the spinner is spinning, you multiply that by the probability of landing on red to find the estimate number of times it will land on red. So 350 times 0.24, That's going to be 84. That is your final answer. Then we have set notation. So we have a universal set which has numbers from 1 to 12. Then set A has number 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, basically the even numbers. And set B has 3, 6, 9, 12, which is basically your multiples of 3. Set C has all of the odd numbers, which are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. We have to list the members of the set, which is A union B. A union B means all of the elements in A and B. So all of the numbers in A and B are 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 12. As you can see, the numbers that were being repeated, which are 6 and 12, we did not write them twice. You only write them once. Then B complement. B complement means all of the elements not in B. So elements not in B. All the elements in A and B. So elements not in B are 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, and 11. All of these elements are not in B. Then we have the same universal set and set A, B, and C. It's saying, write a symbol from the box on each dotted line to make each of the following a true statement. A intersection C is, so if you look at A and C, there is no intersection because there's no common element. So it's going to be a null set or an empty set. This symbol means empty set or null set. Then we have 13 blank, the universal set. So as you can see, 13 is not even a part of the universal set, which means we will use this symbol, because this means that 13 is not included in the universal set. If 13 was included, then we will use this one. But since it's not, so we'll use the other one, which has a line crossing it. For these type of questions, you need to know about your basic set notations, like what each stands for. If you're someone who doesn't know what each set notation doesn't mean, you can check out the link above. In this short, I'm giving a brief description for all of the set notation symbols, and like it helps you in revising and being aware of what each would represent. Then we have inequalities. So we have a number line. It says write on the inequality shown on the number line. So for this, you need to remember that whenever you have a blank dot, that means at that number, the value is not included. But if it's a shaded dot, that means the value is included. So it's going to be x is less than equal to 1, but greater than -2. -2 is not included in the range, however, 1 is. Then solve the inequality 7a minus 5 less than equal to 3a plus 28. So it's very similar to solving a linear equation. What you do is you collect the like terms on each side. So 7a minus 3 less than equal to 28 plus 5. 4a less than equal to 33. A would be less than equal to 33 divided by 4. And that gives us 8.25. So A is less than equal to 8.25. If you want to write your answer as a fraction, you can do that, or you can leave it as a decimal. Then metric conversions, we have to change a speed of 50x meters per second to a speed in kilometers per hour. So we're going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit. So 50x meters means that we have to divide 50x by 1000. Why? Because 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meters, which means if we go from meters to kilometers, 1 meter would be 1 over 1000 of a kilometer. So to convert 50x meters into kilometers, we divide by 1000. Then it's per second. So per second means that we are dividing it by seconds. 1 hour is 3600 seconds, which means 1 second would be 1 over 3600 hours. So divided by 1 over 3600. Remember, per is division. So now the zeros get cancelled out. 5 becomes 1 and this becomes 20. X over 20. We turn division to times and take reciprocal of the second fraction. So it's 3600. Again, the zeros get cancelled out. And the answer would be 180x. So 50x meters per second in kilometers per hour is 180x. In these type of questions, remember your basic metric conversions, what the kilometers and meters equal to, what hours and seconds equal to each other. And secondly, when it says per, that means you're dividing. So the distance is being divided by time. So then you solve according to that. Then we have indices. Simplify a to the power of 6 times a to the power of 10. So a to the power of 6 times a to the power of 10 would mean that we add the powers. Whenever similar bases are being multiplied, you add the power. So that's going to be a to the power of 16. Then we have c to the power of 30 divided by c to the power of 12. Same thing when you have similar bases being divided, we subtract the powers now. So 30 minus 12, that's going to be c to the power of 18. Then factorize y square minus 10y plus 21. So to factorize this, you can either use the quadratic formula or splitting the middle term. When you split the middle term, the coefficient of y square gets multiplied with the constant, which is going to give us 21. Then we find other factors of 21, which are 7 and 3. Now we have to replace the middle term with one of these factors. So we know 7 plus 3 is also 10. So that means we can rewrite the equation as y square minus 7y minus 3y plus 21. As you can see, everything else is the same. What has changed is that the middle term has been split into 7y and 3y. Now we factor by grouping. The first two terms make one group and the last two terms make another group. So in the first group, we have y common. So y minus 7 comes in the bracket. And the second group, we have negative 3 common. So y minus 7 again comes in the bracket. So between y and negative 3, y minus 7 is common. So y minus 3 is in the bracket, and that is your fully factorized answer. Then they're saying hence solve y square minus 10y plus 21 equals to 0. So whenever it says hence, that means you're supposed to use your answer from the previous part. So the same equation is now being put equal to 0, which means y minus 7 times y minus 3 is also equal to 0. Hence, one value of y is going to be 7 and the other value is going to be 3. That is how you solve this. Then it says the diagram shows triangle PQR. Work out the length of QR, give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. So this is SOHCAHTOA, trigonometry. In these type of questions, you need to be able to recognize what is the adjacent, opposite, hypotenuse, and what is given to us. We have the angle, and the length opposite to the angle is your opposite. The length on which the angle lies, that's your adjacent. And the diagonal is always the hypotenuse. Work out the length of QR. So QR is your adjacent. If we have the opposite and the angle, and we're trying to find the adjacent, we will use tan theta. For you to remember what each trig ratio equals to, remember SOHCAHTOA. So is sine equals to opposite over hypotenuse. Ka is cosine equals to adjacent over hypotenuse. And toa is tangent equals to opposite over adjacent. So tan of 24 equals to 6.5 divided by QR. So QR would be 6.5 divided by tan 24. Since we're trying to find the value of QR, we swap QR with tan 24. That gives us a value of 14.59. They want correct to 3 significant figures, so 14.6 centimeters. That is the value of QR. Then it says the diagram shows two water containers. One is a cuboid and one is a cylinder. The cuboid measures 35 centimeters by 28 centimeters by 20 centimeters. The surface of the water in the cuboid is 9 centimeters above the base of the cuboid. The cylinder has a radius of 10 centimeters and a height of 33 centimeters. The cylinder is completely full of water. AC is going to pour all of the water from the cylinder into the cuboid. Show that the cuboid will not be completely full of water. So for this, first we need to figure out what the volume of the cylinder is going to be, because that would be the volume of the water in the cylinder as well. And since they're trying to show that the cuboid will not be completely full of water, we need to figure out what the volume of the cuboid is, then the volume of the water in the cuboid, and then see if we add the volume of the water in the existing volume of the cuboid, will it be equal to the volume of the cuboid or will it be less than or greater than? So let's start with the volume of the cylinder. Volume of cylinder is going to be pi times r square times h, which gives us 10,367.25 centimeter cube. Then volume of cuboid, that's going to be 35 times 28 times 20. That's 19,600 centimeter cube. Then volume of water in the cuboid, that's going to be 9 times 35 times 28. That gives us 8,820 centimeter cube. So we have to show that the cuboid will not be completely full of water. So if we add volume of water in the cuboid to the volume of cylinder, that gives us 19,187.25. So this is clearly less than the volume of the cuboid, which shows that the cuboid is not completely filled with water. Then Zoe invests some money for 2 years. He invests $2,500 with Bank A and $3,000 with Bank B. Zoe receives more interest from Bank A than from Bank B. How much more? So in Bank A, Zoe is invested $500, and the amount of money invested to the total amount of interest after 2 years is in the ratio of 20:3. In Bank B, she's investing $3,000 and she's earning 4% per year compound interest for 2 years. So let's use this information to figure out how much interest she's getting in both of them, and then how much more interest is she earning in Bank A. So if amount of money invested to the total amount of interest earned is in the ratio 20:3, then if we divide both of these by 20, that's going to be 1:0.15. So she's investing $2,500. So for the amount of interest earned after 2 years for $2,500, you multiply 0.15 with 2,500. That gives us 375. So that is the total amount of interest she's earned after 2 years. Then for Bank B, this was Bank A. Bank A, the interest is $375. For Bank B, she invests 3,000, so it's compound interest. So 3,000 times 1 plus 4/100 to the power of 2. Newton the compound interest formula, which is principal amount times 1 plus r over 100 to the power of time. So we plug this in the calculator, what we get is 3,244.8. This is the total value of the amount after 2 years. So for the interest, we subtract this from 3,000. That gives us 244.8. So to calculate the difference, like how much more bank A is giving, we will subtract 375 and 244.8, which gives us a value of $130.2. That is the difference in the interest earned from bank A and bank B. So this is how much more bank A is giving. Then the table gives information about the ages of 80 people in a cinema. So we have the frequency and the corresponding class intervals. They want us to complete the cumulative frequency table. So for this, whenever you're trying to find the cumulative frequency, you add up all the consecutive frequencies. So we always start with the first one, so that's 12. Then the next one is going to be 12 plus 15, which is equal to 27. Then we do 27 plus 20, which is 47. Then we do 47 plus 18, that's equal to 65. Then 65 plus 9, which is equal to 74. And then 74 plus 6, which is 80. To check if the cumulative frequency values are correct, your frequency value given the question is going to be exactly the same as the last cumulative frequency value. If they're not the same, then you did something wrong. Then they want us to sketch the cumulative frequency graph on the grid below using the value. So what we will do is we plot the points. For the x-axis, we will take the maximum value for all of the intervals. So let's write the points over here. We had 20, then we had 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70. So these are the maximum values of the intervals. And the y-coordinate is going to be your cumulative frequency value. So 12, 27, 47, 65, 74, and then 80. So 20 and 12 comes over here. 30 and 27 will be here. 40 and 47 will be here. 50 and 65 is over here. 60 and 74 is here. And 70 and 80 is over here. So starting from 10, we will connect these points. You will not use a straight line, you will use a curved line like this. So this is your cumulative frequency graph. Then they're saying use your graph to find an estimate for the percentage of 80 people who are more than 46 years of age. Give your answer correct to the nearest whole number. So we have to find for the percentage of the 80 people who are more than 46 years of age. So we go to our x-axis and highlight 46. So 46 is this. So you draw a line towards the graph. The corresponding cumulative frequency value I'm getting is 58. So we need to find the people whose age is more than 46 years. So that's all of this. This is more than 46 years. So based on the given information, at 46 years, the cumulative frequency is 58. So since we want the number of people who are more than 46 years old, we subtract 80 and 58, which will give us 22. So they want the estimate for the percentage. So that will be 22 divided by 80 times 100, which gives us a value of 27.5. So 27.5% is the estimate for the percentage of the 80 people who are more than 46 years of age. We want the answer correct to the nearest whole number, so that's going to be 28%. That's your final answer. Then here are the number of eggs laid by some hens on each of 11 days in June. We have to work out the interquartile range of the number of eggs. So for the interquartile range, first we need to find the median value. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the median value because there are 11 days. So 5 values before 18 and 5 values after 18. Now we need to find the middle value of this and this, which is 12. And over here, the middle value in the upper quartile would be this. So interquartile range is, this is your lower quartile, this is your upper quartile. So upper quartile minus lower quartile, that's 20 minus 12, which is 8. That is your interquartile range. Then work out 6.7 times 10 to the power of 135 plus 3 times 10 to the power of 134. So what you can do is we can take 10 to the power 135 common because both 6.7 and 3 are being multiplied with 10 to the power of something. And since 134 is the smallest power, that means it's a common factor between the two. So 10 to the power 134 common, and we're left with 6.7 times 10 plus 3. So that's going to be 67 plus 3, which is 70. Now we have to convert this into standard form. In standard form, your number before the decimal has to be a non-zero digit. So when we move the decimal over here, it's going to be 7.0 times 10 to the power of 135. Every whole number has a decimal at its end. So if you move that one place over here, that means we add 1 to the power as well. So it becomes 7.0 times 10 to the power of 135. That's your answer in standard form. Then we have algebraic fractions. We have to solve this. So 5a plus 8 over 3 minus 2a plus 5 over 4 equals 23. Show clear algebraic working. So whenever we have fractions with unlike denominators being added or subtracted, we have to make the denominators equal first. So for that, we know that 3 and 4 have a lowest common multiple of 12. So keeping that in mind, we can multiply the first fraction by 4, both the numerator and denominator, and the second fraction by 3. So 4 times 5a plus 8 over 4 times 3 minus 3 times 2a plus 5 over 3 times 4. And this equals to 23. So that's 20a plus 32 over 12 minus 6a plus 15 over 12. Now combine the fractions. So it's going to be 20a plus 32. Now the minus sign gets distributed in both the 6a and 15. So negative 6a minus 15 equals to 23. Cross multiply. Collect the like terms over here. So 18. So 14a plus 17 equals to 23 times 12, which is 276. So 14a equals to 276 minus 17, which is going to be 259. And then a would be 259 divided by 14. That's 18.5. That's your value of a. Then express root y over 3 whole power negative 1 in the form of cy to the power of n, where c and n are numbers to be found. So whenever we have a negative power, I've told you before as well, we flip the fraction to make the power positive. So when you flip it, 3 becomes the numerator and root y becomes the denominator. And now it's a whole power of positive 1. They want the answer in the form c times y to the power of n, which means y is now coming in the numerator. So when you bring y in the numerator, the power becomes negative. Root represents a power of 1 over 2. So it becomes y to the power of negative 1 over 2. That means c is 3 and n is negative 1 over 2. This is literally your final answer. That's it. You don't need to do any more calculation. Just remember, when you're moving a term from the numerator to the denominator or vice versa, the sign of the power will change. Since I moved root y into the numerator, as the question was asking us, root, which is the power of 1 over 2, became negative 1 over 2 because we moved it from the denominator to the numerator. Use algebra to show that the recurring decimal 0.612 recurring equals to 101 divided by 65. So over here we can see 1 and 2 are the recurring digits. So let's begin with assuming that x equals to 0.6121212 recurring. We have to multiply x with something so that we can move the decimal and manipulate it to turn it into a fraction instead of a decimal number. So we can begin with multiplying x with 10. So 10x would be 6.1212 recurring. Now I have to multiply x with another number so that when we subtract the two, we are able to get rid of the decimal and the numbers after the decimal. So for that, I can multiply it by 1000. We times it by 1000, we get 612.121212. Now, if you notice, if I subtract 1000x and 10x, we have to subtract 612.12 recurring and 6.12 recurring from each other. This way, the decimal would get cancelled. This way, the decimal will get cancelled out and all of the numbers after decimal will be removed. So 1000x minus 10x equals to 612.12 recurring minus 6.12 recurring. So that's 990x equals to 612 minus 6. That's 606. X equals to 606 divided by 990. I think 990 is divisible by 6. Yeah. So when you divide both by 6, what we get is 101 over 165 as given in the question. So you just have to do these 2-3 steps. It's very straightforward and easily score these 2 marks. Begin with assuming that x equals to the recurring decimal. Then you multiply x with 10, 100, and 1000 depending on how you want to move the decimal. When you're moving the decimal, you need to make sure that the numbers after the decimal match for both the numbers over here. If I divided x by 10 and I got 1, 2 recurring after it, I had to make sure that if I multiply x with 1000, after the decimal, the numbers have to be the same as it was for 10x. That's why I couldn't multiply it by 100x. I had to multiply it by 1000x. So once I did that, I could subtract the 2 and that got rid of the decimal and the numbers after it. This way we had a whole number on both sides, and when we made x the subject, the other side was a fraction. So both of these are equal to each other, the fraction and the recurring decimal. Then it says prove that for any 3 numbers which are consecutive multiples of 4, the difference between the square of the largest number and the square of the smallest number is always a multiple of 64. Show clear algebraic working. So for any 3 numbers which are consecutive multiples of 4. So for consecutive multiples of 4, we can begin with saying 4n, because 4 times something. Then would be 4n plus 4, because in the 4 times table, each number is added by 4. Then would be 4n plus 8. So these are 3 consecutive multiples of 4. Difference between the square of the largest number, so square of the largest number, and the square of the smallest number. So when we solve that, expand the bracket, 4n plus 8 times 4n plus 8 minus 16n square. 16n square plus 32n plus 32n plus 64 minus 16n square. Collect the like terms. 16n square minus 16n square is 0. 32n plus 32n is 64n, and then plus 64. So we are saying that the result is always a multiple of 64. As you can see, both the terms have 64 in common. So 64 times n plus 1. And it stands correct because it is a multiple of 64. The entire bracket is being multiplied by 64. So it's proven. Then we have inverse and direct proportion. It says f is inversely proportional to the cube of r. So if it's inversely proportional to the cube of r, so 1 over r cube, which means f equals to k over r cube. It is very important to make the equation for these questions. You cannot assume the values. When f is 6, r is 2. So 6 equals to k over 2 cube. This step is done to find the value of k so that you can make the formula correctly. Because it says in the question, find a formula for f in terms of r. It doesn't say in terms of k and r. So you have to find the value of k. So 6 equals to k over 8. 6 times 8 is k, which is 48. So f equals to 48 divided by r cube. This is your correct formula. Then find the value of r when f is 3072. So we use the formula that we created. F equals to 48 over r cube. 3072 equals to 48 over r cube. R cube is 48. R cube is 48 divided by 3072. So when we take the cube root on both sides, what we get is 0.25. That is the value of R. When Kanika has 9 counters, there's a number on each counter. Kanika puts the 9 counters in a bag. She takes at random a counter from the bag and does not replace the counter. She then takes at random a second counter from the bag. Work out the probability that the sum of the numbers on the 2 counters is less than 5. Okay, so for it to be less than 5, she's picking 1 and 2. She's picking 1 and 1. 1 and 3. And that's it. These are the only combinations you have. She can pick 1, 1. She can pick 1, 2, or she can pick 1, 3. Now, obviously, to pick 1, 1, it's going to be just one combination because, you're picking 1 and then you're picking 1. There's no different way of doing that. But for picking 1 and 2, there are 2 combinations because she can pick 2 first and then 1, or 1 first and then 2. For 1 and 3, we have 2 1s and we have 3 3s. So she can pick 1, 3, and then she can pick the other 1 and 3, and then she can pick another 1 and 3. So there are 6 ways of doing that, 6 combinations, because it can't be the same one if one is out because she's not replacing them. So then there's another one. I hope that makes sense. So basically what I mean is that if I pick this one, then with this I can pick this, then this or this. Then for the other one, if I pick this one, then I can pick this, or I can pick this, or I can pick this. So this way we have 6 combinations in total for 1 and 3. So based on what we've done, the possibilities of picking the first count will be out of 9 counters, and then when there's one less count, now it's going to be 8. And we're going to divide this by the number of counters you're picking, that's 2. So that's going to give us a value of 36. This is your total outcomes. Now for the probability that the sum of the numbers on the 2 counters is less than 5, so probability is going to be 9 out of 36, which is equal to 1 over 4. Out of the 36 total outcomes, 9 outcomes will give an answer which will be less than 5. The diagram shows a cuboid ABCDFGH. AB is 9 centimeters, AF is 7 centimeters, and FC is 18 centimeters. Calculate the length of BC. So as you can see, we can create a triangle out of it, and it's a right angle triangle. We have to figure out the length of BC. So using this triangle AFC, we can figure out AC first. And once we have AC, we can use AC and AB to figure out BC. For this, we'll just be using Pythagoras because there's no other angle given over here. So for triangle AFC, FC is the hypotenuse, so 18 squared equals to 7 squared plus AC squared. AC squared would be 18 squared minus 7 squared, which gives us 275. We will square root both sides and AC comes out to be 16.58 centimeters. Now, if this is 16.58, AC is the hypotenuse of the triangle ABC, another right angle triangle. So now we have to find BC. So 16.58 squared equals to 9 squared plus BC squared. BC squared is going to be 16.58 squared minus 9 squared, which gives us a value of 193.89. Square root both sides, and BC comes out to be 13.9 centimeters. That's the value of BC. Then the curve with equation y equals to f of x has one turning point. The coordinates of this turning point are -6 and 9. Write down the coordinates of the turning point on the curve with equation y equals to f of 3x. So whenever something is being directly multiplied to x, you will divide the x coordinate by that number. So -6 will be divided by 3, which gives us -2. So this value shows that the graph is shrinking horizontally because the value of x has been reduced from -6 to -2. So x becomes -2 and y remains the same at 9. Nothing happens to y. Only x is changing. Then curve C with equation y equals to g of x is transformed to give the curve S with equation y equals to g of x plus a plus b. The point 4, -5 on C is mapped to the point 1, -16 on S. Write on the value of a and b. So we had y equals to g of x on curve C, where the point was 4, -5. S was y equals to g of x plus a plus b, where the point became 1, -16. As you can see, something was added to x and the function. So -5 plus b equals to -16. So b would be -16 plus 5, which is -11. So b is -11. And for a, so on y equals to g of x, x was 4, and on s, it's 1. When something is being added to x, that means you're moving that many units to the left-hand side. So from 4, we went to 1, which means we moved to the left-hand side. That means we moved 3 units. So a is going to be 3, because only 4 minus 3 gives us 1. If you're someone who struggles with understanding transformation of graphs, I'm attaching a link above for that because I've made a separate video for transformation of graphs and other topics as well, which I mentioned in the beginning, like there's a playlist where you'll find topic-wise videos. Do check out the transformation of graphs link as well if you're struggling with understanding how to transform a graph and figure out how the coordinates are changing. Then solve the simultaneous equations. We have a quadratic simultaneous equation and they want us to figure out the value of x and y. So whenever we have a quadratic simultaneous equation, remember we have to substitute the linear equation into the quadratic one. So in the linear equation, I can make y the subject. So it's 3 minus 2x. This becomes the third equation. you can substitute the third equation in the first one. So now, wherever there is y, we'll replace it by 3 minus 2x. So as you can see, the entire equation is just in terms of x now. Expand the bracket. So 3 minus 2x times 3 minus 2x. So that's x squared plus 9 minus 6x minus 6x plus 4x squared. Bring everything on one side and collect the like terms. 5x squared minus 12x plus 9 minus 41 equals to 0. That's 5x squared minus 12x. And 9 minus 41 is going to be negative 32. So this is the quadratic equation that we have to solve to find the value of x first. And once we have those values of x, we can substitute it back into the linear equation to find the value of y. So what we can do is we can use the quadratic formula for this. X equals to minus negative 12 plus minus root of negative 12 square minus 4 times 5 times negative 32 divided by 2 times 5. That gives us 12 plus minus. So one value of x is going to be 12 plus 28 over 12, which gives us 3.33 recurring, and 12 minus 28 over 12, which gives us negative 1.3 recurring. These are your value of x, and then you substitute them back into the linear equation. So y equals to 3 minus 2 times 3.3 recurring. That gives us minus 3.66. And y equals to 3 minus 2 times negative 1.3 recurring. That's 5.66. So these are your y values and x values. Now they're talking about P, T, R, and Q, T, S, which are chords of a circle. As you can see, they're intersecting. And they're saying that PT equals to 3y minus 5, QT equals to y plus 3, RT is 4x, and ST is x plus 2. We have to find an expression for y in terms of x. So whenever we have intersecting chords, we use the intersecting chords theorem. So based on the intersecting chords theorem, your PT times TR is the same as QT times TS. So we multiply parts of the same chord to each other and put equal to parts of the same chord multiplied to each other. So this way, the equation we have is 3y minus 5 times 4x equals to y plus 3 times x plus 2. So expand the brackets on both sides. So 12xy minus 20x equals to xy plus 2y plus 3x plus 6. Now we're going to collect the terms with y on one side because they want us to make y the subject. So 12xy minus xy minus 2y comes over here. And on the right-hand side, we have 3x plus 20x plus 6. 12xy minus xy is 11xy minus 2y equals to 23x plus 6. We have to make y the subject, so we take y common over here. 11x minus 2 comes in the bracket. Right-hand side remains as it is. And the last step is y equals to 23x plus 6 over 11x minus 2. This is the expression for y in terms of x. So for you to be able to solve this question correctly, you need to be aware of the intersecting chords theorem. Apart from the intersecting chords theorem, there's the intersecting secant theorem, which comes in IGCSE. So for this one, we need the intersecting chords theorem. And this question was for 5 marks. Then we had question number 24, which was about arithmetic series. So in this one, most kids got confused because of like not having numbers for like the terms. They give expressions instead of numbers. And they told us that the first three terms of the series are 2x plus 5, 3y minus 4, and 4x minus 2, where x and y are constants. Then they said that the sum of the first 9 terms of the series is 216. We have to find the value of x and y. So if these are the first three terms, that means the difference between the second and the first term is going to be the same as difference between the third and the second term. Why? Because it's an arithmetic series, which means the common difference is the same between each term, which the name itself says common. So we find the difference between the first two terms first. It's going to be 3y minus 4 minus 2x plus 5, which is 3y minus 4 minus 2x minus 5. And that's 3y minus 2x minus 9. Then we find the common difference again, but now between the third and the second term. That's going to be 4x minus 2 minus 3y minus 4. 4x minus 2 minus 3y plus 4. That's going to be 4x minus 3y plus 2. Since both the differences are the same, we can put the equations equal to each other. 3y minus 2x minus 9 equals to 4x minus 3y plus 2. I'm going to collect the terms with y on one side and the terms with x and the constants on the other side. So 3y plus 3y equals to 4x plus 2x plus 2 plus 9. So that's 6y equals to 6x plus 11. And I'm going to make y the subject. So 6x plus 11 over 6. So we're going to use this equation in the sum formula to figure out the value of x and y. So we know that the sum of the first 9 terms is 216, which means sum of the first 9 terms is going to be 9 over 2 times the first term, which is 2x plus 5, and 9 minus 1 times d. You can use either of these. I'm going to use 4x minus 3y plus 2. There is no restriction on that. You can also use 3y minus 2x minus 9 as d, because both basically represent the same thing. Now let's simplify this. 216 equals to, I'm going to divide everything by 2 first because that gets rid of the fraction. So 9 bracket 2 divided by 2 is 1. So it's going to be 2x plus 5 over here. 9 minus 1 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And we have 4x minus 3y plus 2 over here. Now next I'm going to divide 216 by 9. And over here we're going to expand the brackets. So 2x plus 5 plus 16x minus 12y plus 8. 216 divided by 9 is 24. Select the like terms. So 2x plus 16x is 18x. 5 plus 8 is 13. And we replace y with 6x plus 11 over 6. So that the entire equation is just in terms of x. Now let's simplify this. So 24 minus 13 equals to 18x. 12 divided by 6 is 2, so negative 2 times 6x plus 11. That's 11 equals to 18x minus 12x minus 22. 11 plus 22 equals to 6x. 33 equals to 6x, so that's 5.5 equals to x. And then for y, we just replace x with 5.5. And what we're going to get is 7.3 recurrent. So that's your x and y. And this question was for 6 marks. The next question was that we have a sector BAC with center A, and then we have another sector which is BCD with center C. Angle BAC is 40 degrees. So this is 40 degrees. And angle BCD is 130 degrees. area of shaded segment, this shaded part is 28 centimeters square. We have to find the length of arc of BD, this part. So if BAC is a sector, that means BA is the radius and so is AC, which means these two are the same. Similarly, if BCD is a sector, that means BC is the radius over here and CD is the radius over here. So this is capital R and they're the same. So using the area of 28 centimeters square, which is the area of the shaded segment, we can figure out the length of the small r, then use that to find the length of the capital R, and then further use that to find the arc length BD. So let's first use the sector BAC to figure out the value of small r. So area of sector minus area of triangle is basically the shaded segment, which is 28. So for that, sector BAC, the angle is 40. So 40 over 360 times pi r square. We don't know what r is. An area of triangle, which is 1 over 2, again r square, times sine of 40. So this gets cancelled out. This is pi r square over 9 minus sine 40 has the value of 0.64278. R square over 2 equals to 28. So let's solve this. So first we do pi divided by 9. That's 0.3490 minus, then we do 0.64278 divided by 2. That's 0.32139 r squared. R squared over here as well equals to 28. Let's subtract the two. So 0.3490 minus 0.32139. That's 0.02761 r squared equals to 28. So r squared equals to 28 divided by 0.02761. And then we take the square root on both sides to find the value of r. That gives us 31.85 centimeters as the radius. Now we use this radius to figure out the value of capital R. So if we go back to the diagram, we know that it's a triangle, a non-right angle triangle, and we have two lengths and the angle between them, which means we can use cosine rule to find BC. So let's do that to figure out the length of BC now. So BC squared equals to 31.85 squared plus 31.85 squared minus 2 times 31.85 times 31.85 times cos of 40. So that's going to give us 474.659. Now we take the square root on both sides to find the value of BC or capital R. So 474.659 square rooted is 21.79 centimeters. So using this, now we'll figure out the length of arc because this is the radius of sector BCD. So BC, the length is going to be 130 over 360 times 2 pi, and R is 21.79. That's 49.4 centimeters. That's your length of arc BD, correct to 3 significant figures. And this question was for 6 marks. So question 26 was also one of the questions that confused students the most. So in this case, they're asking us to find the value of K. So looking at the question, we have three similar bases, and the volume of base S is 72.8% more than the volume of base R. Height of base R is h centimeters and the height of base T is 6h centimeters. The surface area of base S is a centimeter square and the surface area of base T is k a centimeter square. We need to work out the value of K. So this question is kind of similar to a question that came in one of the past papers. I don't remember the specific year, but in that case, they only gave two similar figures, not three. So it has some similarities with that, but differences as well. So if we convert the statements into equations, we can say that the volume of base S is 2.8% more than the volume of base R, which means that volume of base S, so Vs equals to 172.8 over 100 because it's 72.8% more. So to that 100%, we're adding 72.8%, which makes it 172.8% of base R. So which means this is 1.728 times the volume of base R. This is our first equation. Then we know the height of base R is h centimeters and T is 6h. So if we go from R to T, so that's going to be 6h over h, which equals to 6. So this is our scale factor when we're going from base R to base T. Similarly, if we use the scale factor from T to R to figure out an equation for the volume, we will say that 6 over 1 whole cube equals to the volume of T over the volume of R. Now, 6 cube is 216, so 216 over 1 equals to volume of T over volume of R, which means volume of R is equal to volume of T over 216. We can easily substitute this into this equation to create an equation in terms of volume of S and volume of T. Because if you look at the surface areas, they're talking about the surface area of S and T. So volume of S is going to be 1.728 times volume of T over 216. The reason why we're substituting this over here is because this would allow us to find the scale factor when we're going from base S to base T. So 216 times Vs equals to 1.728 times Vt. So to figure out the scale factor when we're going from base S to base T, we'll do 216 divided by 1.728 equals to Vt over Vs, which gives us 125 over 1. That is Vt over Vs. Now, if you know, when we're trying to find the volume in similar shapes, the fraction or the scale factor for volume is equal to the length being cubed. So if you know when you're trying to figure the volume in similar shapes, we cube the scale factor. So that means if Vt or Vs is 125, to figure out the scale factor, we will cube root 125 over 1. Which gives us the scale factor as 5. So if we want to figure out the surface area and then the value of K, area of T over area of S would be 5 over 1 being squared, which is 25. So that means K is 25 because area of S is A and area of base T is KA. So that means 25A over A is going to be 25. So K is 25. So these are questions from paper 1 HR of May, June 2025. Now we move on to the paper 2 questions and see which ones were the most difficult ones in that one.